Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, aka the Blue Blur, aka Blue Justice, and I am from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos, as you probably expected at this point in time. And geez, it's been a very long while since we actually last recorded this, especially noticeable because, well, I'll explain more about it as soon as we get this video started. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, PC Steam, and finally the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we've essentially did manage able to accomplish every single action chain challenges during the forms of Iris Island. In addition to that, we also managed able to collect every single memory tokens during the forms of Iris Island, but technically we're not done with this just yet, mainly because today for this video is that not only we can able to pick up the last few pickups here and there in Iris Island, but also eventually we'll go back into Chaos Island to able to wrap things up a lot of stuff here and there, including buddy forms of action chain challenges and all that stuff. So even then though, yeah, because here's the thing, because there are still some music notes I still need to obtain, so even then though, I think this is one of those examples that I do need able to wrap things up everything first before I move on to the next island. So yeah, how's anyone else doing? Well, as you can tell, it has been a very long while since we've last come back into the forms of the YouTube swing of things, especially concerning about that particular point. Obviously that recently, not only me, but also with Mighty and Ray and even the girls and Blue and Jewel have recently got back into the forms of, well, back from the likes of the forms of mini short holiday break. And let me tell you something, I was very, very excited to tell you something for this point. Well, first of all, before we get into more details onto this though, assuming of course if we go into Chaos Island first of all, recently about this specific point, about the fact that there are some tons of announcements I want to bring this up. Especially it's a good thing is about the fact that we did somehow manage to take a break on YouTube stuff for a while until now, because obviously about the fact that today's date of course is the 15th of September today, in some cases in 2023 today. Naturally speaking, we've almost nearly at the end of the first half of the forms of September before we move on to the second half of the month for 2023 for September month. So gee, I can't even believe we've almost getting closer to the point that we've almost there to October at this point. So anywho though, so yeah, a few things I want to explain while this is happening is that, well, do you guys even remember about the fact that we're expecting to able to get ourselves the Nintendo Direct during this month on September? As it turns out, it already exists ever since yesterday. Now as a result, it did somehow manage to take place in the afternoon of all things, rather than the forms of the nighttime, depending on the time zone of course. Although I explain more details about these announcements for later, because if you couldn't tell already, it's about the fact that we've also received a new update, well, until specifically during a few days time. That is about the fact no matter what though, recently, during the course of my mini holiday short break, I somehow managed to receive a yet another character from the likes of Sonic Dash, and this time what appears to be based off from let's just say one of the Knights of the Round or something like that. That's what appears to be buddy forms of Sir Galadra, I think is what it says anyway. I apologize for that mispronunciation of that specific character's name by the way, but I do know for certain for one thing, he's obviously Silver the Hedgehog in Sonic and the Black Knight, but as a result about the fact that I think it's called Sir Galahad, I think is what it says anyway. So, but even then, no. Yeah, it honestly did took me about a couple of hours to able to unlock him still, especially concerned I'm still not a big fan of the forms that unlocking character system with all these ridiculous amount of character cards that you need to farm for. But it wasn't until I've all discovered is that the worst aspect for me though, when it comes to unlocking characters every now and then, in Sonic Dash sometimes, is that at some point throughout the day, that once you do collect quite enough of those character cards and stuff like that, there was this very annoying notification saying that you've now reached your limit for able to actually just get certain rewards for character cards, and meaning about the fact that I think that did happen to me during the course of it. I would say it's on Tuesday or something like that, which as it turns out about the fact that I could never able to actually unlock Sir Galahad to begin with. And as a result, it forces me to able to deal with this very stingy notification saying that reward limit reached, meaning about the fact that I've reached a limit of cards so you can collect in Journey forms of only one day, but you can't come back into it the next day. So it's kind of a bit of a bummer in my opinion, but regardless of such though, I did somehow manage to unlock him on my own time, which is kind of a good thing, especially concerning that obviously it still needs to require Wi-Fi in order to be able to actually access to it though. But either way though, bigger sales can be choosers I suppose, but hey, at least it's not the end of the world personally though, but hey. So yeah, let's talk about the forms of that particular Nintendo Direct announcements that it brings us into for the latest Nintendo Direct, which obviously, like I said before, it does manage to take place in yesterday, which technically we've seen this on our own time, right after we've got back for our small holiday break, which is a perfect timing too, because imagine about the fact that if it was originally going to be on Wednesday, but as it turns out about the fact that I don't think that it's going to be possible to able to actually just, well, you know what I'm saying. So, but either way though, I just seriously can't help it for myself about the fact that how much excitement I just actually gone through for, generally speaking, the final Nintendo Direct for 2023. So, as a result, it was originally going to be on Wednesday, like I said before, but imagine this, right, is about the fact that if we got hyped tremendously during the course of in the nighttime or something like that, that'll just annoy any of the neighbors or stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a good thing it does manage to take place since yesterday. So, now, in terms of the forms of certain announcements they've got, oh man, they have announced so much, and Nintendo once again done it yet again, ever since in June, and especially noticeable during the forms of, I would say since in June actually, because I don't know about looking back on the forms of in February this year's Direct, because despite the fact that it doesn't seem able to add up a lot of Mario content, but relatively speaking, just like in June this year, as I said before, Nintendo has done it yet again. First of all, they did announce the brand new footage for the likes of Splatoon 3 Expansion Pass, and they've shown us the forms of Side Order, and as it turns out, it looks pretty promising. Although, we got to wait until next year, specifically next spring, to make things a little bit more development time or something like that. Although, to be fair though, we haven't got that long until we've made our way to 2024, so expecting to be hype about the forms of Side Order for Splatoon 3, so even then though, yeah, that's actually pretty awesome. So, and the next thing they did announce, and that honestly caught me off guard, and as a result, do you guys even remember that I actually did done a Let's Play of Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Game Boy Advance? Well, believe it or not, that game did receive a remake for the Nintendo Switch. And you guys even remember that we did predicted that ever since in 2021, if I recall correctly. And straight to the point, I've predicted that very clearly. And as a result, their fans have been spoken. So as a result, I got, believe it or not, I not only almost cried, but also very excited at the same time. Which as a result, my god, the visuals look so beautiful in Mario vs. Donkey Kong as a Switch remake. And thank god it's not going to be the forms of Mini's March gameplay style. It's going back to the classic roots. So, I'm very happy about that. So, but either way though, now before we discuss some more details onto this though, there is this little extra thing right here called Barbecue Split, I think is what it says anyway. And I think that usually also gets like a timing system or what have you. So basically all you have to do is you have to pay attention to the visual cue for that particular beef meat right there, and as soon as it's done right, like when it says so tasty, you can able to grind even more tokens. So it's a great way if you can't be bothered able to do some fishing and what have you. So but even then though, it's a great way you can able to actually grind for some more of those, you know, fish tokens and stuff like that, and that'll be the easiest method, especially because if you know exactly what the timing system is all about, by all means you can able to actually go in there. So anyway, so before we move on for more exploration that we can able to deal with, let's go and listen to the forms of the special thing we can show off, and that's what appears to be by the forms of the voice logs, or generally speaking, egg memos to be more specifically. Now, I don't know exactly how many of those egg memos we can able to read through, but I'm sure I can able to actually let you guys listen to the forms of every single egg memos during the forms of this particular menu selection. So as you can see, we've catched everything on here. So anyways, let's go and listen to the actual voice logs. So, hope you enjoyed this particular voices.
Some force is keeping me from exiting cyberspace. Is it because my AI made unauthorized access to the databases? If so, that's the exact opposite of what it was supposed to do. What a gun military craft doing in here? Sage has helped me avoid the worst of it, and it doesn't appear to be manned. Is it a defense mechanism? I need to learn more. The terrain here keeps shifting. I'm finding recreations of regions from South Island, West Side Island, even Angel Island. Where is this environmental data coming from? I found elements from my own EggNet, the United Federation, even planet Donpa Kingdom race data. As best as I can surmise, this cyberspace extends well beyond the scope of these islands and is gaining information from around the world. Fascinating. I am officially jealous. This entire expanse was constructed by the ancient race who had previously settled on these islands. The level of technology they employed is completely alien to me, so I can't salvage it. Yet. It appears the Starfall Islands act as the CPU for cyberspace. Once I'm out of here, I need to secure them at all costs. I'm not able to access the data too readily, but it appears the entire history of the Ancients is recorded here in cyberspace. More than that, they logged their memories, their desires. It's almost like they encoded their very souls into this place. Now then, how can I use that to my benefit? Who were the Ancients? They predate any civilization by a wide margin. The Echidnas? The Black Arms? Please. The Babylonians? Hardly. And yet they didn't seem to influence the world beyond these 3 piddly islands. Why? What stopped them from conquering the world? I'm finding multiple connections between the Ancients and the Chaos Emeralds. Their technology seems built with the Emeralds in mind. It's almost like they share the same origin. I enjoy a good mystery, but not when the answers are more mysteries. Ah! The Ancients seem to have employed a set of strange icons as keepsakes or totems. That same imagery is being used by the Koko running around the islands. Did the Koko inspire the Ancients? Or did the Koko adopt the leftovers once the Ancients were gone? Something wiped out the Ancients, that's for certain. A catastrophic event caused dire environmental shifts across the islands. It appears they made some effort to rebuild, but they were living on borrowed time. They died out within a generation. I don't believe this. I had Sage run a diagnostic on the recorded genetic data of the Ancients, and then against archives I have with me. They're relatives of Chaos, the god of destruction. After countless years, their DNA corroded to the point they were completely transformed into a new species. Some kind of radiation affected them for eons, making them unrecognizable. Except to a genius like me. I'm deploying my most advanced artificial intelligence into the ancient network spanning the Starfall Islands. I've codenamed it Sage. Sage will take over the alien network, take control of all its resources, and give them to me. Once I'm out of here. Sage is performing at peak efficiency. Makes me wonder where I went wrong with Orbot and Cubot. Not only is she taking control of the Ancients network, but she's harassing Sonic as well. I love it! Despite her best efforts, Sage can't seem to control the Titans. Phooey. She can prompt them to act, but something is blocking her from assuming total control. Sage keeps running the numbers by me, and it's getting tedious. Yes, the power that wiped out the Ancients was formidable. Yes, unleashing it on this world would be catastrophic. But I'm a genius! Once I'm out of here, I'll find a way to handle it. Better yet, weaponize it against Sonic. Sage has been crucial to my survival here in cyberspace. Early warnings of hostile entities, guiding me past firewalls, keeping me updated on progress in the real world. She's the best. It's a program. An adorable program, a very personable program, a I wonder if she has a preference. I never really knew my cousin Maria. Everyone spoke of her like she was very special. All that love for someone who was gone when I was right there. But I have to wonder, back then, was she anything like Sage is now? Sage told the funniest joke during her report. How fast can Sonic screw things up? Instantly, he's the fastest thing alive. I tell you, she's a chip off the old block. Well, for a program, I mean. It's not like she's alive. Or family, or... Who says I can't create life, huh? Just a bunch of proteins pumping together, anyone can do that. A true genius does it with code and electrons. And if I did create life, she would be brilliant and loyal and perfectly effective. And you know why? Because her dad is a genius, that's why. Sonic's on the island. Of course Sonic is on the island. I can't remember the last time I had a good night's scheme without him ruining it. Still, for a purely organic creature, obtaining Mach 1 of his own volition is impressive. I'm man enough to admit that. It's Sonic who named me Eggman. Except the joke's on him. I embraced the name. I made it my own. His mockery is now a name feared across the ages. I'm not going to adopt Baldy McNose here, though. My dignity has limits. It appears Amy Rose has been dragged into the mix. Clever girl. Tenacious. She's come a long way since being an easy pawn in my schemes to ensnare Sonic. It seems like she had some trouble finding herself. But when you hang around with someone with as big an ego as Sonic, self-identification has to be a challenge. Knuckles is here too? What a rube. That hair trigger of his is a problem, but also a boon when I can get him to go off in the right direction. Wait, if he's here, that means the Master Emerald is unguarded. Its power will be mine! Oh, no wait. I'm stuck here. Phooey. Sonic's here, so it's no surprise Tails is too. It's a pity. Young Prower has a keen mind and loads of potential, yet he's fixated on worshipping Sonic. And again, maybe that's for the best. Given all the trouble he gave me in Station Square and on the Ark, I think I prefer him wasting his potential lingering in Sonic's shadow.
So yeah, all 24 egg memos, I see. So anyway, enough about that. So I suppose for now on, we should probably now leave Big's Fishing now, because, well, I'm pleased to say that we've done everything for the likes of Big's Fishing spots. And I gotta say, these are definitely the most tamed compared to the forms of how it does it on Sonic Adventure for its Big's Fishing mechanic. Although, to be more specifically, I've heard for a lot of people, they seem to be able to dislike the actual letter A missions or something like that, just because it actually requires the ridiculous amount of luck. And on top of that, you have to get so much time wasted for that particular godforsaking level A mission, as far as Big the Cat's mission, as far as I'm concerned. So, what's the saying between the forms of level B and level A missions are the most painless one of them all? In regards to the forms of... What the heck just happened? Oh, I thought my game crashed for a moment, but luckily though, that the game just resumes itself. So even then though, I have no idea what the heck just happened right there. Luckily, we actually got ourselves another trophy too. So it's been a very long while since we actually claimed certain trophies on my PS4. So, anywho though, as I was predicting for the sake of time, yeah, I was very happy about the forms of Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Not only does it make a massive comeback after the huge hiatus ever since in 2016's Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge on both on the Wii U and Nintendo 3DS, well, straight to the point, we're going back to the classic roots, which I always appreciate, especially because I'm still a huge fan of Mario vs. Donkey Kong the original on the Game Boy Advance, just because of not only for my nostalgia memories, but it's also how unique that game is. Especially, it's more likely it's like a its predecessor to the forms of Donkey Kong 94 on the original Game Boy, so as a result, I'm always a big fan of the original game over a bit more, especially concerning about that particular point that I suppose that the Game Boy Advance original version on the GBA NSO expansion pack is probably not gonna happen, because regardless of such, I don't care, because I'm super hyped about the forms of the remake is about to coming out. And generally speaking though, it's about to be releasing at some point, and I'm not gonna believe why I'm saying this, it's gonna be releasing on the 16th of February in next year in 2024. Not only does it gonna take place in the 13th anniversary of our YouTube channel, the Mexi Toys to be more specifically, but it's also gonna be releasing during the forms of the 20th anniversary of the original game's release on the Game Boy Advance. So, pretty awesome, and I'm super happy about that. Especially, I wasn't expecting to see that coming, and especially it's a nice little welcoming back, or to be more specifically, it's nice to see Mario vs. Donkey Kong series managed to finally make its a massive comeback after the events of the Wii U and 3DS days, which I can totally see why about the fact that I'm glad there's not going to be a yet another Lemmings kind of gameplay style for the likes of Mario vs. Donkey Kong ever since in the second game on the DS. I think the reason why we're probably not going to get the yet another Minis March kind of game is most notably because the Nintendo Switch is pretty lacking with dual screens, which is understandable. So, but even then though, I'm very happy about the remake of Mario vs. Donkey Kong. It's finally come to exist. And one thing I will have to admit it though right away, I was not expecting about the fact that not only does it show off some brand new graphics and potentially speaking, but it's also about the fact that they also added in 2 players this time around, which I think what it does is not only does player 1 can able to take control of Mario, but also, get this, you can also play as Toad. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting, all things considered. So, but even then, though, yeah, I'm very happy about that. Especially because, you know, like I said before, I'm a huge fan of the first game. So, yeah, I finally get able to actually decide to come back into that first game again. Except this time on the glorious HD Nintendo Switch. Seriously, we're about to be considered about this for the start, though, is that 2024 for the Nintendo Switch lifespan or something like that is about to get even much more impressive, especially towards the ending portion of that particular discussion of that direct, which I'll mention about it until for later. So, anyway, enough about that. The next thing they've shown us is the forms of some more gameplay footage of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which I think we already know about that ever since in during the forms have been the Summer Game Fest. Mind you, the release date is pretty much unchanged, so yeah, that's something. And also they mentioned about the forms of Horizon Chase 2, okay. I think for the most part, when it comes to the forms of the small bits and pieces, when it comes to the forms of game announcements, it's not my cup of tea. But regardless of everything else though, is about the fact that I just want to mention those anyway. So, anyway, we got Horizon Chase 2, as I mentioned earlier, and also we're about to get ourselves Super Crazy Rhythm Castle, okay. And I think that release date has been revealed, potentially speaking. And also, we get ourselves the forms of Spy X Anya Operation Memories. Okay, that's all there is to really think about it. But we got ourselves some more stuff for the likes of the Super Mario RPG info, which not only about the fact that we're able to see some full-fledged cutscenes this time around though, for what I've noticed on the actual footage itself, as far as I can predict that, but it's also they're getting some new additional content that was not found on the original Super Nintendo version, which you probably already know about the fact that we've, it's a good thing we did somehow finish up the forms of the original Super Nintendo version of Super Mario RPG before we're able to actually hear some more infos about Super Mario RPG Remake on the Switch. So as a result, the new features they'll added in, at least if I was assuming so anyway, is that, well, if I recall correctly, once you finish the game, you can now able to actually skip the actual credit sequence this time around, which I think that's actually a really good thing, because unlike the original Super Nintendo version of the game, obviously you cannot skip the actual the end sequence. So apparently Ray kind of predicted that during the course of in the Switch version as far as I'm concerned, but even then though, yeah. And because of this though, they give us a new post-game optional boss fights, which, as a result, it's basically a rematch of any sort. A rematch incarnations of the previous bosses that you've already fought against, but they're a lot more tougher, so as a result, it does kind of remind me of the forms of the data organization fights during the course of it, not only in Kingdom Hearts 2, but also with Kingdom Hearts 3. Well, specifically, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, and especially noticeable for Kingdom Hearts 3 Reminded, or Remind, as far as I was meant to say for this point. So yeah, still very excited for Super Mario RPG still, and in fact I might try to pre-order that at some point until next month, so not long now, potentially speaking. And after this, not only do we get one, but two new remake compilation games, but this time it appears to be based off from yet another long-time Nintendo franchise, as far as I'm concerned, and that's what appears to be Another Code. So yeah, pretty cool to able to have a nice welcoming comeback for the likes of the forms of Another Code ever since in back on the Nintendo Wii. Not only does it feature one game, but two games based off from Another Code, which meaning that the game is going to call it Another Code Recollection. So obviously it contains not only the first game on the Nintendo DS, but also the second game on the Wii. So yeah, pretty awesome, and I'm sure a lot of fans out there will be pretty excited about this. So anyway, after that, they've shown us some more gameplay footage for that Princess Peach game that everyone else has been keep on questioning about. Not only does it show us the actual main plot of the game, but also with some more gameplay footage of it as well. And in addition to that, they've also shown us not only the release date for the game, but a brand new name for it. And it's going to call it Princess Peach Showtime. So as a result, no longer it's going to call it Super Princess Peach 2, but honestly, I don't mind about it too much, especially considering that obviously it does manage to take place in Journey forms within the stage itself, so even then what I thought was a little bit crazy about the forms of that Princess Peach Showtime is that they did somehow manage to able to show us the reveal of what the actual the hairstyle usually does for Princess Peach, but it's also about the fact that, well, exponentially speaking though, they've shown us some specific costumes that Peach can actually wear. Like, for instance, there is the detective one, as well as the sword fighter, and also there is the bakery one, and I can't even believe it, they somehow bring out a ninja costume for Princess Peach, and that is what I call about the fact that, gee, no wonder why that Princess Peach she's pretty awesome during the forms within the Super Mario Bros. Movie to begin with, so, because usually that she just packs a punch, or you know, just anything else in general as far as I can possibly describe about. So yeah, in terms of the release date for the likes of Princess Peach Showtime, it's expecting to be releasing, obviously, in 2024, and it's going to be releasing on the 22nd of March, so, which I almost assume about the fact that 2024 is going to be the leap year for sure, especially concerning about the particular point that, obviously, the Paris Summer Olympics is going to be on its way. Speaking of which, though, is about the fact that I don't think the Paris 2024 Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games kind of game is probably not going to show up anytime soon, at least if I'm assuming so anyway, especially concerning about that particular point, they've basically done making brand new games for the Nintendo Switch for now, just because about the fact that, you know, as I said before, they're about to be moving on to, you know, just a bunch of remakes and remasters potentially from now on, and relatively speaking, you know, just anything else in general. So yeah, Princess Peach Showtime, you know, as I said, is about to be releasing on next March, specifically March 22nd. So yeah, pretty excited about this one though, especially concerning about the particular point that, you know, Princess Peach now got 2 games total. So yeah, that's actually pretty awesome. So, anywho though, the next game they did bring up is the forms of Saga Emerald Beyond. Not exactly sure what that's usually meant for me. And also, surprisingly enough, they've shown us yet another remastered compilation, except this time it appears to be Tomb Raider. So yeah, pretty awesome to able to give her the actual compilation of any sorts, just like what they did for the likes of not only for Crash Bandicoot, but also same applies with Spyro the Dragon as well. So relatively speaking though, we're getting yet another PlayStation mascot kind of series as far as I'm concerned. Oh, and that also applies to the forms of Klonoa as well. So, but even then though, yeah, Tomb Raider, specifically 1, 2, and 3, are about to get bundled together as a remastered collection. So, yeah, pretty awesome. So, even then though, yeah, and I think it's about to due out also in next year. So, but even then though, that keeps us a lot of high expectations for those who have not played the original Tomb Raider or 2 or 3 on the original PlayStation before, then that will be your perfect opportunity to able to actually give it a try for the likes of Tomb Raider collection. So, and after that, they've shown us some more gameplay footage of Detective Pikachu Returns, so yeah, I guess there's not much else you can say about this one. And on top of all that stuff though, out of nowhere, they've shown us the forms of not only Trombone Champ, I have no idea what that's about, and also they've shown us more games here and there as well, later down the road, like Battle Crush and War Tales, and out of nowhere, we're getting a new installment of Contra, or is it a remake or something like that? My guess it will be a remaster or just a reimagining or something like that. So as a result, it's gonna call it Contra Operation Galuga, I think is what it says anyway. So yeah, that's something I guess. And after that, they've shown us another game called Unicorn Overlord, so that's going to be releasing also in next year. And also they've shown us the forms of a new trailer, including some more gameplay footage of that particular Luigi's Mansion 2 remaster, as what most people said this so many times already. But it does reveal the name of it, and that's what appears to be Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I mean, it's kind of like a similar situation as the forms of the Wii U days, including The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD on the Switch. So obviously they just put in an HD on here, make it classify as the HD remaster, like a high definition version of the game. So, makes sense, all things considered. So they're not gonna call it like obscure names, so they're just gonna call it Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, or to be more specifically, for those of you who lived in America, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon HD, so I guess that makes it a little bit obvious. So, and I'm pretty sure about the fact that they've shown us the exactly same features as the 3DS version, but at the very least we're able to experience the game with much more better controls, at least for what I've heard about it anyway. So, and as far as the release date for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, it's expecting to be releasing at some point in next summer. So because of that though, well, I suppose it doesn't really matter to me too much, because concerning about the fact that we might save Luigi's Mansion 2 Let's Play for reals until specifically next year's Halloween, because obviously Luigi's Mansion is obviously like a Halloween themed kind of game, so at least as far as I'm usually concerned with that. So anyway though, so the next thing after that, it appears to be buddy forms of the revival of one of those specific series that finally makes its return, sort of. And as a result, we're about to be getting a Nintendo Switch Online experience kind of game, and that's what appears to be F-Zero 99. And as a result, yeah, this is the game that, although I'm very pleased to see F-Zero finally makes its return, but it's basically based off from a Super Nintendo game, but just with 99 players. I kind of wish if I was expecting to see the HD remaster of F-Zero GX for the Switch, but oh well, not the end of the world. I mean, it is fine, I guess. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the forms of games that you have to play with online, and also just trying to able to play with 99 players. I know, I get it because of the chaoticness has been going on, and also, according to the forms of the actual, like, the time or specifically, is that I've noticed until about next month is that Pac-Man 99 is about to be dying soon, so I'm guessing that's the reason why F-Zero 99 does now exist. So, but even then though, and I'm pretty sure that particular game has recently came out just recently, so. And the only thing I don't like about the forms of certain 99 multiplayer kind of games like this is that, you remember how in Journey forms have been back in 2021, that we can no longer play Super Mario Bros. 35? Well, I just get a horrible feeling about the sense of dread about the fact that at certain points throughout the whole year, or certain times of the day, or something like that, it might just say about the forms of that particular server shut down in the future. Specifically when it gets to like 2030's era, yeah, that could be a problem, at least from my recollection. So, Anyway, enough about that. The next thing they've shown us is the forms of Bandali Tale and League of the Legend story. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what that's about. But also they brings us into the forms of Song of New. I think it's what it says anyway. So, yeah, I've got no comments from there. But, at the very least, we got ourselves some new gameplay footage of WarioWare Move It. And they've shown us the forms of some more cutscenes, and I think it might actually include fully fledged voice actor this time around, so I guess it's very similar to WarioWare Gold for that particular presentation. Oh, and that also applies to the forms of Get It Together as well, despite that certain voices have been almost limited for certain cutscenes. So, oh, and on top of that, the forms are back. So as a result, the forms themselves plays pretty much exactly like the forms of how it does it on Smooth Moves, basically. So, yeah, at the very least, it's nice able to see the different forms makes its return. So, and of course, it still hasn't been changed for its release date, thankfully. So, at the very least, I'm still excited for, you know, WarioWare Move It, because, you know, we need more WarioWare, because surely we still do. So, anyway, the next game after that, or technically speaking, a DLC, and as a result, Eastward is getting a DLC, which is called Eastward Octopia, I think is what it says anyway. So, yeah, I guess that's about that. And after that, they've shown us the forms of a new trailer for the likes of Wargroove 2. So, yeah, I guess there's nothing else to say about this for the most part. And after that, they've shown us the forms of Dave the Diver. Okay, that's about it. And the next thing after that, they've shown us the actual brief sneak preview of the one and only Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 6. Which, not only does it show us a new track returning, which, as it turns out, I was a little bit slightly disappointed, but I'll take it. And as a result, they've shown us some gameplay footage of Daisy Circuit is going to make its debut. Or to be more specifically, Daisy Circuit is going to make its return in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And as a result, it seems that we got all the tracks based off of Mario Kart Wii Star Cup. So, yeah, that does sound very surprising. So, yeah, not only do we got Daisy Circuit, but also, get this, not only, I was expecting about the fact that we'll get the final two characters, but as it turns out, not only do we get two, well, usually relatively speaking, not two, not three, but 4 whopping characters in Wave 6. And those are Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Pauline, and for some reason Peachette. Okay, I was expecting about the fact that they'll bring Dixie Kong, but unfortunately though, it might be a bit too late. So, kind of unfortunate, but regardless of such though, Diddy Kong finally makes its return on a console Mario Kart game since Mario Kart Wii, and also Funky Kong was here, so I bet a lot of Funky Kong fans out there will be extremely happy about, and Pauline. Well, I predicted that from last time, so as a result, Pauline, she finally made it to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Oh yeah, that's a ginormous roster when it comes to the console Mario Kart game. So, bit of a bummer though that, as I mentioned before, that Dixie Kong is probably not going to make it after all. And same applies with the forms of Honey Queen, and also same applies with Paratroopa and Rob the Robot, and even especially noticeable for Nabbit or King Bob-Omb, but oh well, beggars else can't be choosers, because I don't care. Because, you know, we've got all 3 Kong members in a Mario Kart game since Mario Kart Wii. And suffice to say, speaking of Mario Kart Wii, we got every single characters based off of Mario Kart Wii returning from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And that, my friend, is super duper awesome. Like, 20% cooler, or should I say 100% cooler. So, or if I like to call it that, extra like, well, 120% cooler. So, and it hasn't shown us the release date just yet though, much like the forms of how it does it on Wave 3, Wave 4, and especially for Wave 5. I'm guessing they might try to announce that during at some point in either in October or November. Well, let's wait and see what happens. So, but even then though. And after that, they've shown us a new map called the Fungali in Journey Forms of Among Us, so nothing else to say about here. And finally, the final announcement they did brings us, and I saved that for best for last, Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, the most acclaimed games of all time on the Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo finally did it. Nintendo has finally did it, and as a result, they remaking, or should I say, a remastering, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door for the Nintendo Switch, and that made me cry a lot when I see that happening. And my god, the visuals look so stunning! And not only that, the actual outlines, the white outlines, are no longer visible. So it's going back to the classic roots, baby. And in addition to that, oh, I'm just so looking forward to this particular remaster. Especially I can now finally play the game on the go. Mind you, I still haven't played or completed the original GameCube version for some time, but definitely I need to get back into it before I dive into the Switch version. And oh man, is it just me, or is that particular Nintendo Direct seriously gets better and better and better the more we've progressed? Especially not only for its nostalgia feeling, but it's also straight to the point about the fact I'm pretty sure Nintendo Switch might potentially try to end its lifespan pretty dang awesomely well. Although my main concern is about the fact that we still have no idea when does the next generation of consoles for Nintendo will exist yet. I mean, surely I can't complain too much because seriously, the Nintendo Switch is seriously going to be going into the king of the hill when it comes to certain Switch games they somehow revealed for some time. I mean, usually I'm just going to save up some of my cash for right now for not only trying to save up for Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remaster on Switch, and by the way, it looks spectacular. Way more spectacular. So beneath Nintendo, thank god, no need for emulators anymore because the Switch version is coming, baby. So even Nintendo, and as expected, it's going to be releasing also in 2024. I guess that makes sense because it marks the 20th anniversary of the original game's release for the Nintendo GameCube. So beneath Nintendo, yeah, let me know in the comments down below for the question of the day. What was your favorite highlights in terms of the forms of the most recent Nintendo Direct announcements? I will say my favorite ones are, let's just say, the Splatoon 3 DLC side order, and also Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake, or a remastered of any sort, and also same applies with the forms of course, more stuff has been confirmed for Super Mario RPG, Princess Peach Showtime, as well as the forms of Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 6, and in addition to Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remake, and oh, there's so many possibilities I could probably try to mention, but I think it's probably best if we try to able to recap on that until tomorrow anyway. I could have liked able to, oh, speaking of which though, I was trying to able to mention something related to Mario Kart Tour during the likes event today, but I suppose I might as well save that particular topic until for tomorrow, especially because it also receives an update for it, especially because, well, then again though, I will say I'll give the actual September Nintendo Direct an A effort, which as a result, my god, it makes everyone else happy at the moment. Especially that it's a good thing that the Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is coming to the Nintendo Switch, because obviously, god, the GameCube original version is gonna get twice as expensive nowadays, especially because considering that the GameCube didn't sell very well. So, yeah. That's why I can really talk about this, especially because, oh, I also forgot to mention something, is that, out of nowhere, it seems to be more specifically that also during the forms event yesterday as well, that we actually got ourselves State of Play PlayStation Showcase Direct as well, which I suppose I should probably save that particular topic for later time, especially concerning about the particular point that at this point in time, there's going to be a lot, I mean a lot, of news, conversations in between the forms of most any other uploading schedules for Sonic Frontiers from now on, because there are so much to talk about. So beneath Nintendo, yeah, I'm incredibly happy at this point, especially because, well, it seems to be more specifically, you know, as I said before, the fans have been spoken for the sake of the forms of certain predictions, and even certain rumors have been spoken about this as well. So beneath Nintendo, yeah, oh man, I need to take a deep breath after I finish this recording session, I must be honest here, because, oh man, so many announcements they bring up, they can never seem to end. I mean, sure, I'm excited about this for the most part, but still. Anyway though, I think suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers. That's what appears to be about the fact that we still continue exploring through Chaos Island to grab some more memory tokens from time to time. And do some more usual stuff here and there. Just walk around and maybe battle some more Guardians or something like that. But we'll see. So I'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas.